Welcome to the yoga method and your vinyasa practice for today. Merc is joining me for a modified Ashtanga Yoga primary series. So come and join us at the left end of your mat, the top of your mat when you're ready. So hands coming into Anjali Mudra, closing down the eyes. As you cultivate your Ujjayi breath, breathing with sound. And setting an intention only if you wish for your practice. Taking one more breath as you infuse your intention. And on the exhalation, releasing your hands as you open the windows of your eyes. Surya namaskar A. On the inhalation, our hands rise high as we breathe in. On the exhalation, bend your knees as much as you need to safely come into your forward fold, looking to your knees. On the in-breath, either hands to shins or fingertips to floor, flat back extension before stepping or hopping, lowering through Chaturanga Dandasana on knees or toes, elbows tight, belly strong. Taking a baby cobra or an upward facing dog before propelling your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Please invite movement in. So in Ashtanga Yoga, this would be a no-no to invite movement. But we're doing a very modified practice, so whatever your body is craving in this moment, consciously spreading through the fingers, consciously spreading through the toes, as we press dynamically into the hands and gaze between our feet or between our knees. Taking one more full deep breath in and out. On the inhalation, we'll rise to the tips of our toes. On the out-breath, bend your knees to prepare. Look where you're going. Walking or hopping will lift and lengthen together before exhaling into your forward fold. Grip with your feet. Energize your legs as you rise all the way up to extended mountain before releasing hands home to your heart center. Samastitihi. Just one more A. Energize and open on the in-breath. On the exhalation, releasing your head and shoulders last, belly strong. On the in-breath, lengthen arms, legs, and spines before stepping or hopping, transferring through your chaturanga, knees or toes. A baby cobra or an upward facing dog before propelling our hips up and back, downward facing dog. So dynamically pressing into the hands, sending the weight to the back of your mat, bending your knees as much as you need. And it almost feels like an angry cat between your shoulder blades, just to avoid collapsing through the shoulders and through the lower back. One more full breath in through the nose. Slow, smooth breath out through the nose. And on our inhalation, we'll float to the tips of the toes. Exhale to prepare, bending knees. Walking or hopping will lift and lengthen on the in-breath before exhaling into our forward fold. Spread your wings, rise all the way up to your extended mountain. Hands home to your heart, Samastitihi. Surya Namaskar B. We'll take our time on the first round, so take a seat into Utkatasana. Hands can be shoulder distance or palms press. On the exhalation, lifting through the hips, release your heads. Inhale, hands to shins or fingertips to floor, flat back, before stepping or hopping, transferring through your chaturanga. Energize and open into upward facing dog before lifting up and back, downward facing dog. On the in-breath, we'll lift to the tips of the toes. On the out-breath, we'll bend our knees looking at the top of the mat. Right foot steps through, so we pivot the back foot and open the stance. You're welcome to leave your hands on your thigh. Reach your hands high for Vira 1, or press your palms and perhaps looking to your thumbs. Energize your feet, lift through Mula Bandha, taking one more full breath in. Before the exhalation, we frame the foot. We'll take an extra breath. Inhale to high plank before lowering with control. Finding expression through front body by activating back body. Lifting up and back, downward facing dog. On the in-breath, tiptoes. On the out breath, bend to prepare. Left foot between your hands. Shorten your stance, widen your stance. Virabhadrasana 1 or A. Only press your palms if your shoulders allow. Only gazing to your thumbs if your balance in your neck will allow. One more full breath in. And on your exhalation, lift your back heel, frame your foot. Extra breath to high plank as we breathe in. Control the descent on the out breath. Collarbones broad. Pull the heart through as you open before lifting up and back. Downward facing dog. Breathing in. Spread your fingers, spread your toes. Breathe out 1. Merc is always teaching, so she doesn't get adjustments. So finding more length, more depth, more breath. One more full breath in stillness. And on our next inhalation, we'll float to the tips of our toes. Exhale, prepare, looking at the end of the mat. Walking or hopping, lift and lengthen, breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees. Utkatasana, breath comes into the body before standing tall to Samastitihi. So one breath, one movement. We'll come low, take a seat, Utkatasana. On the out breath, folding forward, lifting hips, releasing head. Breath in, lift, lengthen, looking forward before stepping or hopping. Control the descent, knees or toes. Heels squeeze to the midline as we open front body. Lifting up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, tiptoes. Exhale, bend knees, prepare. Right foot ready, Virabhadrasana A. It's an inhalation to rise. And immediately the exhalation brings us down. We'll take an extra breath to inhale to high plank before lowering through chaturanga. Open, baby back bend. Lifting up and back, down dog. To the tips of the toes we rise. Exhale, prepare, bending knees. Left foot coming through, pivot the back heel and breathe in all the way to the peak of the pose. Exhale, pivot the back leg, frame the foot, slide to your high plank. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, Adha Mukha. Stay and breathe. One more breath. To the tips of the toes, we'll rise as we breathe in. Exhale, bend the knees to prepare. Walk or fly. Lift and lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, take a seat, reach your hands up before standing tall to Samastitihi. Separating the feet hip distance, get your waist, take a baby back bend as we breathe in. On the exhalation, bend your knees as much as you need so that you can pistol grip your big toes. Inhale, lift your heads, lift your hearts, energize your core before we gently draw ourselves in to Padangusthasana. So finding a slight shift to the balls of the feet, and then dynamically engage the abdominals and use the strength of your core to draw you just a millimeter deeper. One more breath in and out. On the inhalation, we'll lift our heads and hearts. Pause. Stay for the out breath to slide the hands underneath the soles of your feet as far as you feel safe. And inhalation reestablishes the length of our spine. Exhaling, chin towards the chest as we draw into Padahastasana. So shifting only if you feel safe. And in this shape, we're drawing the abdominals up. And at the same time, we're pulling with our hands ever so subtly to draw us a millimeter deeper into this shape. Taking one more breath in. and out. On the inhalation, we'll just lengthen, lift, pause. On the out breath, hands to your waist. Inhaling all the way up to standing before stepping the feet together to Samastitihi. Please bend your knees. We step back with the right foot and we pivot towards the right end of our mat. So setting up for Trikonasana, we'll lengthen once we find the alignment of our feet, and we'll land our hand on our thigh, our shin, our ankle. Traditionally in Ashtanga, peace fingers are to your big toe, but you never need to do that, whatever feels right for you. Grip with your feet, micro bend your right knee, be powerful in the core and your legs. Just one more full deep breath in. And on the exhalation, we'll look down, bend deeply into your right. Breath in to lift towards the long edge of the mat. Pivot to the other side. So it's a lengthening as we breathe in. Find your end point. And on the exhalation, land the hand where it suits you best. Looking upwards only if your balance will allow. Just one more full breath in. On the exhalation, look down, bend deeply into your left knee, push out of your left foot, turn to the long edge of your mat. We pivot all the way around and we're going to open the feet to prepare for revolve Trikonasana. So right hand to hip, left hand will reach high as we send the breath to the fingertips. Exhaling, you got it, Merc. Reaching forward, land your hand on your thigh, your shin, your foot, or pinky finger to the pinky toe side. We deliberately draw the right hip back, left hip forward, turn your chest, and reaching high towards the sky if your shoulder will allow. Eye gaze where you feel safe. Such a dynamic, demanding posture. Staying for 2 more breaths. One more full breath in. And on the exhalation, we'll look down, bend deeply into the right knee. Your best windmill arms as you come all the way up and around to the other side. So set up your stance, feet hip distance apart. Reach high as you create extension before reaching forward. Land the hand where it suits your body best today. Begin to turn your torso towards your left thigh. Send your left hand high if it feels good. And turning your eye gaze if your balance will allow. Left hip back, right hip forward. 2 more breaths. One more full breath in. And on the exhalation, gaze down, bend deeply into your left knee. Windmill your arms to face the long edge of your mat. And then stepping to the left end of your mat to Samastitihi. We bend the knees, we step open again, but we go a little bit wider as we set up for extended side angle. So turning the right toes towards the right end of the mat. And then sink into Virabhadrasana 2 to first create the shape. Before extending over that knee, please feel free to land your elbow or follow Merc to the floor. Top arm high, or you could reach all the way overhead. So as in Trikonasana, we're spinning the ribs open. We're creating maximal length from fingertip to toes. And we're either gazing down or to the palm of our left hand. Taking 2 more breaths. One more full breath in. And on your exhalation, look at your right big toe. Press out of your right foot to rise to the long edge. Turn your right toes in, left toes out, and sinking into Vira 2 as soon as you're ready. You'll extend on the inhalation. You'll land your elbow or reach for the floor, taking your right hand high or bicep to your ear as you spin the pinky finger down and around. Gazing only to the palm of your right hand if the neck will allow. How long can you make the top side of the body as you roll your heart towards the ceiling? One more full breath in. And on the exhalation, gazing down, press into your left foot, rising all the way up, turn to the long edge of your mat. We'll pivot to the right end, and I'm going to start you in a kneeling position, so take your time to come down. Right hand, right thigh, left hand, reach high. Come across the midline of the body, hook your left elbow to your right thigh. Press your palms, stack your elbows. Variation 1 will stay here. Option 2, tuck your back toes, power into your back leg. So no need to go any further. The last variation, if it feels like there's space, you would wiggle your left hand towards the earth, and you'd send your right hand over your head so your bicep is moving towards your ear. Spin the pinky finger down once you find maximal length from fingertip to heel. How straight, how strong can you make that back leg? As you stay for one more deep breath in. On the exhalation, look down. Bring your right hand to your right thigh. Soften into your left knee. Windmill your way all the way up and over. Taking the kneeling position on the other side. Reach high on the in-breath. Hook. Right elbow across the thigh on the out-breath. Press your palms, stack your elbows. Stay grounded. Or tucking the back toes, powering into your back leg. That final variation of wiggling your right arm towards the earth on the pinky toe side. Left arm coming up and over. Gazing down or gazing to the palm of your left hand. Last 2 breaths. One more full deep breath in. On the exhalation, look down, left hand to your left thigh, bend your right knee a little bit so you can safely return to the long edge of your mat before stepping to the left end to Samastitihi. Wide leg, forward fold. Deja vu. We step wide. We slightly pigeon toe the feet. We'll catch our hands to our waist. We'll take a little bit of a back bend on the in-breath. And on your exhalation, bend your knees as much as you need so that you can reach the floor. If your body allows, lengthen your legs as you lift your heads and your hearts. And then walk the heels of the hands between the heels of the feet as you bow the crown of the head towards the earth. Press dynamically in the pinky toes. Spread your fingers wide like you're going to press into a handstand. And if you feel safe, a little shift into the balls of the feet. For one more deep breath in and out. On the inhalation, press the earth away. Lift your heads, lift your hearts. Pause to bring the hands to your waist on the out breath. And then bend your knees as much as you need to safely rise to standing. Exhale to anchor your tailbone. Stay here with your hands as you open front body. And then ease your way over again. You're welcome to bend your knees. Tipping in, keeping the elbows high. Press into the outer edges of your feet as you shift into the balls of your feet. Can we engage the quadriceps? Is Mula Bandha lifted? Is your navel drawing to your spine? One more breath. And on your inhalation, you're rising all the way to standing. So please bend your knees as much as you need to safely exit this posture, pausing to anchor the tailbone. Hands come wide as we breathe in. Flip the thumbs as we breathe out and interlace your fingers. Your knuckles reach for the floor as you send your hearts to the ceiling on the in-breath. And on the out-breath, bend your knees. Maybe this is as far as we go. Variation 2, we can tip in. And then gravity taking the shoulders over the head as far as it feels safe for your shoulders. Shift into the balls of the feet. Energize your quadriceps. Lift through the abdominal wall. Just one more breath. And when you're ready, we're coming all the way up to standing on the inhalation. Soften through the knees to safely rise. Exhale to anchor tailbone. And last time to take the arms wide, peace fingers ready. On the out breath, pistol grip your big toes, seal the bind with your thumb. One breath in to extend the spine. And on the exhalation, elbows pull towards the ceiling. Elbows and wrists are buoyant. That final shift into the balls of the feet. One more full breath in and out. On the in-breath, we lift, we lengthen. On the exhalation, hands to our knees or waist. Inhaling to rise all the way up to standing. And the hard part's getting back to this end of your mat. So turn your toes, step, pause with your hands in Anjali Mudra, closing down your eyes to reconnect with your intention. Letting go of the standing sequence and preparing for our seated sequence. So release your hands, open your eyes, taking a vinyasa. Inhale high. And on the exhalation, over we go. Inhale, either hands to shins or fingertips to floor. Extend, lift your hearts before bending your knees, stepping or hopping, traveling through your chaturanga. We'll energize and open before lifting up and back to downward facing dog. So we're coming to a seated position. However you get there is perfect, but we might bend our knees. And you're welcome to experiment with a little crisscross of your ankles. You might jump to get there or just walk them and then let your legs come through. Readjust so you feel centered in your mat. And staff pose, Dandasana, is our first seated posture. We draw the toes back, we press into the hands. We'll take a breath in to lengthen the spine. And then maintain the length of the spine as you draw the chin towards your clavicle. So press your hands dynamically towards your feet. Draw the toes back so much that your quadriceps are engaging. And then press the knees towards the earth. Last two. One more, please. On the inhalation, we'll reach high. Leave your legs really powerful and active. On the exhalation, peace fingers bind your big toes. So you might bend your knees to get there. Perfect. We'll take a breath in. And on the exhalation, just soften it as far as it feels good to your body. Dristi is the big toes, unless your chest is resting on your thighs, and then you're welcome to release your head towards your knees. Last two breaths as we are. One more full, deep, smooth breath in and out. On the inhalation, lifting through the head, through the heart. On the out breath, we'll ground the hands behind us, about 30 centimeters. We'll point the toes, and if there's any wrist issues, you're welcome to turn your hands out to the side. So traditional hand position is fingertips facing the pelvis, but we want to feel safe in our practice. Variation 1, just lift through the heart space. Be powerful through your legs and through your hands. Option 2, a tiny little lift of the hips. In variation 3, we keep powering into the feet and the hands. We're only looking towards our toes, or if the neck allows, you could release your head back. Keep pressing down in order to lift up as you take 2 more breaths. One more breath in before gently releasing the hips, pressing yourself forward, and giving the wrists a little reprieve if you need. 3 times one direction, 3 times the other direction before we relax. So Merc is going to demonstrate variation 1 in this next posture with crossing her foot just above her knee, maintaining dorsiflexion through the right ankle. Variation 2, you would point your toes, draw the heel to the belly button, and encourage the knee forward as long as there's no pain in the knee joint. Regardless, we all reach wide with the right hand, flip the thumb and bring it either into the curve of the lower back or peace fingers to your big toe. And then sending left hand high as we breathe in. And on the exhalation, ease your way forward any amount that your hips, your hamstrings, and your knees will allow. We steer the heart towards the knee. We roll the right ribs towards the left inner thigh. Taking 3 more breaths. For 2. 1 more full deep breath in and out. On the in-breath, please lift through your heads, through your hearts. And on the exhalation, release the option that you took before coming to the other side. So either 90 degrees with dorsiflexion or pointing the toe, draw the heel to the belly button, coming into half lotus. We'll take left hand, flip the thumb, curve of the back, or peace fingers to the big toe. Right hand high, and then easing our way forward. Roll the left ribs in, drishti is the big toe. One more full breath in and out. On the inhalation, we'll lift through our heads and our hearts. On the exhalation, we'll sit tall and we'll take a waiting vinyasa. What does that mean? We'll cross the left ankle in front of the right. Option to just sit tall, or option to pick up the knees, ground the hands, and just pick up your feet. Stay for 3 breaths. For 2. 1 more breath, please, before releasing out. Janu Shirshasana A. Left leg long, taking right foot either above or below the knee. Bend your left knee as much as you need, but let's set the posture as we breathe in and ease our way forward as we breathe out. Hands on your thigh, your shin, your foot. If you're binding, it's your right hand across the sole of the foot, holding onto the left wrist. Right ribs towards the left inner thigh. Stay and breathe. On the inhalation, we'll lift heads and hearts. On the out-breath, we'll sit tall and exchange to the other side. See if you can get your legs to move themselves, and then use your hands for that last little adjustment. Reaching high to lengthen the spine, and then transferring that leg forward, hands where they feel best to your body. Never forcing the body, just meeting it where it is. Left ribs in, eye gaze steady, 3 more breaths. One more full breath. And on your inhalation, lifting through your heads. On the out-breath, sitting tall, taking that waiting vinyasa with your right in front of your left, sitting tall, or hands down, feet up. 3 breaths. Navel in, pelvic floor lifted. 1 more deep breath in. And gently releasing down. We're going to keep this shape, and we'll just do a modified yoga mudra. So with your right foot on top of your left, option 1, we'll sit very tall. Variation 2, you'll thread underneath, hold your feet, and just gently begin to bow your head towards your ankles. So at some point, supposedly our feet are behind our head. Maybe this lifetime, maybe the next. It doesn't matter. We're just finding our presence, the power of our presence. Last 2 breaths. 1 more full deep breath in and out. On your inhalation, please lift your heads first. On the exhalation, sit back. And we're going to even out the body by uncrossing and recrossing. So be generous with the space. Option 1, sit tall and shift forward from there. Variation 2, thread under, hold your feet, and gently bow your head towards your ankles. Whatever option we're choosing, as long as it feels therapeutic in our body. It's the whole concept of primary series, this yoga chikitsa, yoga therapy. Last 2. One more breath. And on your inhalation, please lift through your hearts, through your heads, before we gently release ourselves out of that shape. We'll ground our feet and we'll do boat pose because we really should do boat pose. So energize and lift through the heart as we reach our hands forward. We'll do 3 rounds of 3. So option 1, option 2, and option 3, you're welcome to lengthen your legs if that feels good. Just taking 2 more breaths. One more breath, please. You're going to cross your right over your left. Put your feet down, put your hands down, and see if you can lift the pelvis for 1 breath in before gently releasing. Reset your boat pose. Take your time. Buoyancy in the heart, strengthen the belly. 2 more breaths. 1 more. It'll be left over right when you're ready. Feet down, hands down, hips up if we can. And our last time, whatever you've got left, please feel free to drop the feet. 1 more full breath in before gently releasing. And you'll spinal roll your way down all the way to the earth, unless you're keen to take a full vinyasa, and then by all means. Once we arrive safely, please hug your knees to your hearts. Take a moment to gently rock the body from side to side. And we're coming into our bridging or our backbending. It's quite a cool morning for Merc and I, so I don't know if she feels warm enough for Dhanurasana, but please do not feel you need to go there. So peace fingers will touch your heels. And if you're coming into bridge, I'd like for you to check that your hips and knee are aligned. If you're moving into wheel, you'll probably want your feet a little wider. So let's all begin by energizing the feet, tucking the tailbone, lifting through the pelvis. And we'll take the arm position that we would use for Dhanurasana. So we'll reach high on the in-breath, keep your hips lifted, and then we'll pull the fingertips back so we feel like we're holding the heavens. And then that shape, we bend the elbows and the hands land beside the ears. Hug your elbows in, press your pelvis high. So this would be the prep pose for your wheel pose. The next krama would be to the crown of the head before lifting all the way up. But whatever option feels safe and available, great job, Merc, wherever you are. Last 3 breaths for 2. 1 more full breath in. Before you gently come down, if you're in wheel pose, tuck your chin in so you land softly on the back of your head. Ripple your hips down, reach your hands high, let your feet relax as you gather your knees into your chest. A gentle rock bless you as we ease any tension out of the lower back that's developed. And our counter pose will be to come to our inversions. So let's all start in happy baby pose. So this is such a glorious option for a restorative inversion. You could also simply place a block underneath your pelvis and let your legs go straight up. If you're moving into shoulder stand, I'll encourage you to bend your knees first. And you'll roll up, catching onto the back of the pelvis with your fingers pointing skywards. And the first stepping stone is just to stay here. I want you to ensure that you're driving down through your elbows and your shoulders so that the neck remains free and open. And in the shape, the feet are stacking over the pelvis. They're not over the face. We want to keep the weight out of the neck. So energize your legs. They'll feel light as you reach for the ceiling. My happy baby crew, you'll stay stationary for 1 more breath. And as we transition towards plow pose, our hands stay on our back unless our feet land safely. And if our feet land, then we're welcome to take our hands to the floor or interlace our fingers. You might need to tuck your shoulders in a little bit more. Press the pinky fingers down. And once again, find the connection to your shoulders. Happy baby crew, you're rocking gently now from side to side. If you're in plow, make your legs powerful. Just one more breath before we move into Kanapadasana, knee to ear pose or knee to forehead. Happy baby crew, you're exploring the inner seam. You'll draw one leg in and open out with the other before you explore the other side. In Kanapadasana, big toes are together. We're pointing the toes. We're gently drawing the knees against the ears. Pratyahara is created a little bit more profoundly when we do this posture, drawing the senses inwards. Just one more breath before we descend out of this. So to come out of it, lengthen your legs. If you're coming down with straight legs, hands on the floor. If you're coming down with bent knees, hands on your pelvis. Controlling the movement by using your arms and your core strength. Bend your knees the moment you feel like you're going to compromise your back at all. And then we'll just land for a moment with the feet separated, with the palms turned to ceiling. Just basking in the sensation that spinal flexion and inversions bring. Before we take our counter pose of fish pose, Matsyasana. So stepping stones into Matsyasana. If you're doing full version with your hands lifted, just start with your hands by your pelvis. If you're going to keep the hands on the ground, I'd love for you to slide them underneath your pelvis with your palms down, thumbs touching, fingers spread. Please point your toes, super glue your big toes together. Tuck your elbows in, press your shoulders down. Once you're ready, energize your abdominals. And that is variation 1. Option 2, you'll just lift your head, keep looking at your toes, so you're strong everywhere. Variation 3, you'll float into a back bend shape. Variation 4, the head dips back. And variation 5, the feet could lift on a 45. And that final option of hands pressing into palms together. Last 2. One more breath before we gently release the feet, release the head, release the hands, and completely release your efforts. Last 2 breaths. When the time is right, you'll bend your knees one at a time, gather your knees to your hearts. Please hug yourselves very tightly, rock your bodies very gently. And we're coming all the way up and over onto our hands and knees. So you might rock forwards and backwards a few times. You might just roll to your side. However you get to 4-point kneeling will be perfect. Now, I haven't warned Mercia that we're doing a headstand, but I'm going to spot her because we're on platforms, which is terrifying. But let's work on our prep poses first, yeah? So we'll interlace our fingers, and you landmark the position by catching the opposing elbow. And then karate chop, meaning really press dynamically into your pinky fingers, your forearms, your elbows. Option 1, all we'll do is think angry cat, and we'll lift the knees just a millimeter off the floor. Nothing more is going to happen. Stay here for 2 more breaths. So a headstand technically really is a forearm stand. We want minimal weight through our necks. Our head is not meant for weight bearing. 1 more breath before we land. Sit back onto your heels, rolling through your wrists. Before we come into dolphin, which is our second krama, our second stepping stone. So landmarking, pinky fingers down, interlace your fingers, thumbs touch, Angry cat, hover the knees, nothing more needs to happen. Variation 2, you begin to propel the hips high. You'll shift forward any amount that your shoulders will allow. So you could walk your feet in a little bit tighter if that feels available to your hamstrings or not. But press down super strongly for 3 more breaths. For 2. 1 more breath, please, before you walk your feet back. Land your knees, lift up, and it might be your shoulders that you feel like you need to release. Maybe the hands are behind you. So I'm going to come onto Merce's mat, and she does not need to do a headstand, but just to show how we work towards that. So option 1, we're hovering. Variation 2, you are moving into dolphin. Variation 3, you're cupping the back of the head, you're walking your feet in, and she might just pause right there and do nothing more, or she might lengthen her legs. So I'm just here as a wall, so at home you could use a wall if you're practicing, but I want you to press down into your pinky fingers, your elbows, your forearms, be long through your legs, strong and powerful through your feet. Taking 2 more breaths. 1 more breath in. And on her exhalation, she'll begin to bend her knees towards her chest, or she can come down with one leg at a time, whatever she feels best with. And I'm here just to support that descent as she lands in child's pose. Once she's in child's pose, she'll drape her arms behind her or out in front. And we really want to take time to allow the effort to subside, but also blood pressure. Last 2 breaths. 1 more, please. Before we gently, slowly come up onto hands and knees, and we'll cross our ankles in order to come over onto a seated position. Right leg is in front, or we could take half lotus or full lotus, whatever is part of your practice. So in this shape, we will wrap our arms behind us. So we take the left hand back first, and then the right. And then you'll catch either your wrists, your elbows, your forearms, or maybe peace fingers to your big toes. We'll take a breath in to lift through the heart. And this is Yoga Mudra, another version. So we come into a forward fold as far as our shoulders, our hips, and our spines will allow. This beautiful gesture of surrender. We're bowing to the inner wisdom, the higher wisdom of our soul, our eternal essence. Taking 1 more full breath. And then slowly on your next inhalation, we'll rise up out of this shape. Lift through the heart space, lift through your chin. Keeping the legs and the torso as they are, we come to Chin Mudra. So backs of the hands pressing into the knees, thumb and index fingers lightly touching. Press your elbows forward to lift through the heart space. Full breath in. And then maintaining the length of the spine, bow the chin towards the chest just slightly. So internally, we're lifting through the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha. We're scooping and lifting through the lower belly, Uddiyana Bandha. And with our chin bowed towards our chest, this is Jalanara Bandha. So this idea of sealing the energy within the spinal column, Mahabandha. Just stay for 4 more breaths. The thumb and the index finger lightly touching, symbolizing once again the ego bowing to the wisdom of the heart. And when you're ready, you'll lift your hearts. You'll release your hands. We can take a vinyasa, but I think we shouldn't. I think we should just let the legs come out long. Give them a shake, and let's take one last Paschimottanasana instead. So finding that beautiful length now that the practice has cultivated. Feeling the inner calmness that the practice has cultivated. We lean into our own breath. And through the power of setting intentions and through consistent, dedicated practice, we feel transformation happening. It's so subtle that sometimes we don't even notice. A little kinder, a little bit more patient, a little less reactive. And maybe the byproduct is we touch our toes, we stand on our heads. But the real power of our yoga practice lies in who we are becoming. Just one more breath before you gently, lovingly lift your heads, your hearts, and rising up in order to lay yourselves down. So take your time. If there's anything else your body is craving, you'll take it. So maybe you feel like you need a little twist. Maybe you need one more hug of the knees. Just take a moment to tune in before you settle into these last few moments of our practice. If your back is sore at all, just keep your knees bent with your knees together and your feet wide. And if you're still feeling a little energized, you'll turn your palms down so you feel more anchored, more grounded. If you're feeling open and ready to receive, the palms could turn upwards. The eyes are closed. And now seeing with your inner eye, steady your eyes on the back of your forehead. Maybe landing your eye gaze on the space between your eyebrows. And then run the awareness over your body, allowing your whole body to relax. Allow your whole bodies to relax. With your eyes remaining closed, take 3 more smooth, slow, intentional breaths. Remaining with your stillness for a moment more as you feel the power of your presence. When the time is right for you, deepen your breath deliberately to lift the energy of the body. And as you expand the breath, you'll expand the awareness to feel the outer edge of the body. Invite mindful movement into your fingers, your toes, a little movement through your hips, your shoulders, your necks. And only if it feels good to you, reach your arms overhead Take a full, deep body yawn from fingertip to toe. Before sliding the arms down and around, bending your knees one at a time. Gather your knees to your hearts. Take a moment to rock your bodies very gently before rolling lightly on the right hand side. Stay for one last breath before rising to a seated position, coming into any position that feels comfortable for your body. We lift and lengthen through the spine. We bring our hands to Anjali Mudra. And with gratitude, devotion, and love, we take one last breath before closing our practice with a bow. Namaste. We hope you've enjoyed this modified primary series. And a huge thank you to Mercia for joining me. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and we hope to see you soon. Namaste.